Superheroes are the paragon of truth, justice, and virtue. They save old ladies across the street, save the world from destruction. Don't they sound like lovely people?
I'll laser every one of you.
Is this nigga serious?
Okay, maybe not all of them. Omni-Man, you're pushing it.
What are you doing?
Oh, come on, nice. I have a theme here. Alright, despite those horrible examples you just saw, all these series have something in common. They subvert the superhero trope and genre and pay homage to the genre in and of itself. Alright, maybe not The Boys. It's like a cynical jab at the superhero trope altogether. But all these shows bring something new to the table. Also, on this side note, not Homelander because that guy. But let's get into the video.
I am so lonely.
Each of these shows brings something new to the table, like I said earlier. For example, Superhero X pays respect to the superhero genre, but grounds in our socio-economic landscape. AKA, they treat the superhero like celebrities, and the man is just as heartless CEOs that wants to take away the whole world from them in the worst kind of way. Uncle, you lied to me! You broke my trust! Anyway, heroes in this universe rely on people, their fans, to grant them strength and power through the trust value. Or as I call it, you're only as good as the support you got, because once they leave you, you ain't got no powers. I mean, you do, but they're greatly diminished. And you're old, washed up news. Next up is Invincible. Heaven, please help Mark Grayson, because this man's gonna need a whole lot of therapy. But Invincible pays homage to the heroes of old, like Superman, Batman, etc., with the Viltrumites, aka Mark Grayson. But add the emotional weight that mirrors the real-life counterparts. Think about daddy issues, girl troubles, victim blamers who blame their failures on you, when it's clearly their own fault. Angstrom, I'm looking at you. Mark and the rest of the cast are very relatable, and that's why I gravitate towards them, and so do we as fans. And also, we're there for the bloody, visceral brawls that follow, because my goodness, when these fights happen, they don't hold back, they go all in. What Omni-Man did to those passengers on the train, damn. That was just diabolical. I get the father and son talk, but damn man, you took it to 1 million. If you wanted the shared definition of cynicism and no faith in the superhero zeitgeist, The Boys might as well be ground zero for this, because all the heroes except Maeve and Starlight ain't shit.
And I'll shed a crocodile tear for each and every one.
The heroes in The Boys are narcissistic, self-entitled dicks who think their power's above the law because of their status as heroes, and push the envelope on how much shit they can get away with. Homeland is the epitome of why unchecked power corrupts absolutely, and why attention-starved adults need not to be born with powers, cause damn, this man is already committing war crimes alone, okay? Somebody stop this man. But a superhero series about why superheroes are the worst of society doesn't come to a shock when you realize The Boys is Garth Ennis' manifesto of why he hates superheroes. Man really said, if it wears a cape, it's not safe. And now we're going to start with how these shows intricately subvert the genre in and of itself. Invincible might as well be if Superman was an undercover alien trying to prep Earth for conquest, because that was Nolan's plan from the start. So let me give you a summary of the show. Mark has a human mother, and his dad is Earth's strongest superhero, Omni-Man, the Viltrumite, who is an extraterrestrial from the planet Viltrum, who wants to spread peace to neighboring worlds.
Earth isn't yours to conquer.
Oh damn, I stand mistaken. He's trying to conquer everything. Whether you read the original comic or watched the TV series adaptation on Amazon Prime, what makes it interesting is how they subvert the build-up to the ultimate confrontation between Omni-Man and Mark, and how their ideals clash. The moment Mark acquires his powers and becomes a Viltrumite just like his daddy, he wants to be a hero just like his father, or more like the facade Omni-Man wears, because that's a whole lot of nonsense. This man doesn't care one single bit about humans. He thinks we're ants. Oh, you don't believe me? Hey, Omni-Man, come tell these people how you really feel about us.
He can be a part of something bigger. Or die.
But anyway, back to Mark. He's just a regular teenager that's trying to balance his normal mundane life with his superhero duties. And this is why we connect with Mark, because he's such a relatable character. He's trying to reconnect with his father and follow in his bloody footprints. Wait a second, that wasn't in the script? But after the major revelation that Omni-Man killed the Guardians of the Globe, which the show builds up to, and the whole world finding out, it shatters Mark. The hero he thought was a paragon of truth and justice is just a Viltrumite spy preparing Earth for his glorious Viltrum Empire. And Nolan's willing to get this done by any means necessary, even if it means beating Mark to a bloody pulp and killing thousands of people to get his point across. The way Invincible twists the Superman trope on his head is both amazing and frightening at the same time. Imagine if Superman, who wasn't a hero we wanted, but was a spy that wanted to take over Earth, with the slogan, down for Viltrum or catch these hands. I'm with the former because I'm not trying to get turned into tomato paste. And Mark struggling between the dichotomy of his Viltrum heritage and his humanity is a chef's kiss. Because he refuses to make the same mistakes his father made, and he wonders if he can turn out just like him. I mean, there were instances where he could have, not his alternate counterparts, because they were doing way too much shit. Like, remember when Caesar was feeling himself and had a contingency for Mark, which was disrupting his equilibrium with a device set at a certain frequency and then jumping him with robots to reanimate? Yeah, that was nasty work. I would have been a villain right then and there just to spite that old bastard. I love Caesar, but as right as he was, he didn't have to be a dick about it. He was being too extra. And lastly, most superheroes have a no-kill rule. Slowly throughout the series, Mark is reluctant to kill, believing he would be worse than the villains he's actually taken out. However, he realizes over the course of the show that in order to protect the ones he cares about, he has to take a life to ensure there's no more danger that comes to Earth or his family. In season 3 of Invincible, the stakes are real high and makes us understand that if Mark doesn't put Conquest 6 feet under, oh, he gonna be killing a whole lot of people. Caesar, I hate you. Now that you have this man in the underground bunker thinking you can get answers from him, that's the most stupidest decision I've ever seen and heard in my life. Now, my wonderful viewers, let's get into the cynicism of the boys.
Bring it on!
Let's imagine a world where Superman is a narcissistic sociopath with the need of a craving attention, starving child, with a sprinkle of fascism, and with a hint of a milk addiction because of mommy issues, and you get Homelander.
What is this thing that's been awakened?
Dear heaven, watching this show makes me thankful we have Superman, because if this was my hero, I'm taking the plunge myself before he throws me off a 100-foot skyscraper. Golf Ennis hates superheroes, and after watching the first episode of The Boys, you will too, because these depraved, morally deprived heroes will do anything to remain relevant in the spotlight. Most superheroes in fiction, like the Avengers, despite their flaws, try to do better in the world. But apparently the Supes didn't get that memo, because they delve in every hedonistic and debauched activity known to mankind. And when I mean they do some foul, disturbing things so bad that I get banned for showing it out on YouTube. They go off the for goodness sake. But with all that said, when the Super needs the belt, Billy Butcher and his team are tasked with killing these heroes with questionable methods, to say the least. But if your heroes like Homelander in the Deep, I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna mind if they take you out, because you are breaking Geneva Convention codes now. You are a threat to society, the world at large. Now we got that. 86 you, X you out. Ice you. These Supes are so irredeemable that when the boys take them out, we champion them and perceive them as the good guys, despite their questionable means to kill these immoral, cape-wearing heroes. But what makes these Supes so interesting, despite their depravity and homicidal tendencies, the show deconstructs them so that we better understand why they are the way they are. This is demonstrated with Homelander. He was a test tube baby given Compound V. From his inception, he would be punished physically and psychologically for not meeting up to his superior expectations, which made this man believe needing their attention was the only way to get their respect. Yeah, hindsight's 2020, because they didn't know the nightmare they were creating with this kid, because now this narcissistic kid with mommy issues is now a man-child that'll laser a whole crowd if his ego is slightly challenged. And it doesn't help that they rewarded this system by covering up Homelander's scandals, making his man seem untouchable. So now he feels entitled and believes that nothing he does is wrong. The world is wrong. Now it's our problem. Miss me with that nonsense. With powerful corporations at the helm like Vault protecting these celebrity superheroes, we the viewers relate them to contemporary media entertainment entities that protect actors, musicians, and etc. from scandals, that make these attackers emboldened to commit more morally reprehensible acts because it's just a slap on the wrist for them. Thank goodness for society for the past 4 years are ousting these celebrities who commit these heinous crimes. Billy Butcher and the boys might not be the good guys, but I'll take them over Supes any day.
I say we go with To Be Hero X.
If The Boys is the worst superheroes has to offer, To Be Hero X represents both the best and the worst parts of that spectrum. In a world where superheroes are created by the trust of the populace, heroes are born. These heroes are a shining light to the civilians at large, but it's a double-edged sword because these people can also take away the powers from these heroes by just simply not believing in them. Like, for real, all it takes is one scandal for your trust value to plummet to zero. You'll still have your powers, but it'll be greatly diminished. You'll be like Superman at a Red Sun convention. But despite all the perks of being a hero and having trust in the populace, it's frightening because the heroes themselves are prisoners of their own success. They have to conform to a role that doesn't really fit their personality or lifestyle for public appeal. Being perfect in the eyes of the public, but sacrificing your individuality and personality. Let's think about this for a second. The real nice in To Be Hero X, he tried so hard to please the CEO, the shareholders, and the public to the point where he had a nervous breakdown and unsubscribed himself from the census.
And I'll shed a crocodile tear.
But we're not going to forget he was the other piece of sugar honey iced tea. He was trying to kill Lowly and the lab team for brownie points. Like, respectfully, that dollar store fake ass Timu Diet Coke Homelander. I understand the pressures Nice was going through, but that doesn't excuse his unscrupulous behavior. Guilty as sin. But Nice is just a victim in this system because, as I was saying before about how trust makes the hero, yeah, it's all manufactured to a sense by media conglomerates having a monopoly on the whole superhero biz and using that unchecked power to shape the people's perceptions of superheroes as they see fit. Nah, yeah, Billy Butcher, we may need your services in the Superhero X-verse because these CEOs are wild. But back on the topic at hand, the last time they had a hero whose trust value went unchecked, he turned into a whole villain and created fear to the point where they had to stop this man and then reevaluate the whole system. They're like, if a hero's trust value goes unchecked or potentially has an impact to go unchecked, they could turn into an evil god like the last guy. Yeah, we just gotta take them out. That's a tad bit on the draconian side, but with the path they're going to eventually create another X trying to kill heroes whose trust values go unchecked. All the paranoia they're breeding, they might as well create 3 X's because you're just killing all the good heroes you could actually trust. But on that note, there have been heroes that oppose the system in one way or another, either overtly or subvertly. So we're going to go into Linlin, who replaced Nice after his smack into the pavement. Yeah, so they thrust my man into the limelight after Nice went splat. They grabbed the first 2 days to it just because of a mishap of his hair being painted white at the time. They didn't even ask man for his consent. He tried his best to play the part of Nice, being rigorously grilled by his sponsors and manager on how to walk, talk, act, hell, even eat like Nice. But Moon, who was a prisoner of the dollhouse world, who was the original Nice's quote-unquote girlfriend in the public eyes, not in the background, she helped Linlin get out of that prison by telling him to be himself and more genuine, and that he's not Nice, he should be himself. And that allowed him to evolve into the superhero he always envisioned himself to be. Not like Nice, but something even more. A hero that inspires regular civilians that they can be heroes themselves, which is a full circle because that's exactly what Linlin was promoting in that ad in the first episode. That anybody can become a hero.
The prodigal son returns, and this is the way our world ends.
Overall, seeing how the superhero genre has evolved and subverted many of the tropes of the ideal superhero that we see today is a breath of fresh air. On-demand murking innocent civilians, Homelander being an absolute sociopath on what we think of as heroic. But that's what makes these shows so amazing. It turns the concept of being a superhero on its head. It gives more of a nuanced perspective of the superhero trope. But what do you guys think about the video? Like, follow, share, subscribe, tell me about your thoughts, and have a wonderful day.